not just because of the topics we're diving into, but because we have a returning guest in the studio. Last time we tried to record, we had some technical issues, but honestly, the universe was just trying to give us a warm up round. This time we're running it back for real. Our guest has been busy. She recently competed in a tag team jiu-jitsu event. She was at the Hey Brawl at Bull and Bear Gym and still found time to host a Sunday service open mat at her gym, bringing athletes together from all over the region. We're also talking about something deeper today, the transition from being a jiu-jitsu competitor to becoming a coach, and how that mirrors one of the biggest transitions in life, going from being just a regular person to becoming a parent. The patience, the responsibility, the sacrifices, the emotional roller coaster. We're breaking it down, all the similarities and differences. And on top of that, our guest has been doing incredible work teaching women self-defense seminars across multiple gyms. We are going to talk about why that work matters, what she's learning from it, and how it's shaping the community. So whether you're a parent, a coach, a competitor, or someone who just loves the culture of jiu-jitsu, this episode is packed with lessons, stories, and perspective you want to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Maria Rios.
Yo, how's it going? Thank you so much for having me back on. I'm
No, it's a
always glad
pleasure.
to be here.
Pleasure is ours, man. Having you here, man. You always break some knowledge with us, man.
I try to.
How's it been, man? Since we talked last time, you said you were competing in a tag team tournament.
Yes.
That was a championship.
This last one that I did was a two-person tag team event. The one I did before was a four-person. So there was four people on the team, but this past time it was only two. And it's wild. It's pure chaos. In my opinion, it's so much fun. It is chaotic though, especially because like the where we did it in the pit, there's not a lot of room to go anywhere. It's a very tight, very small space, and literally, I feel like it's just pure chaos. Like I was joking around with some of the girls at the event, and I was like, this is very similar to like the feeling of like getting jumped because like you're in there. Let's say you're in there and you're going with the person from the other team, and they tag in their partner, and they have like a couple seconds, a 5 second countdown to hold you down while their partner comes in and jumps on you however they can, and you're just trying to like bail on that person and start fighting this person. And it's a high pace event. There's just like no downtime unless you're pinned on the bottom of somebody that is really big and you can't move, like to tag out. But even then, it's like nonstop, 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 and um, yeah, it was wild. And literally, like, think the total time spent that we like were in the pit was about like maybe an hour. So if you think like training, high intense rounds going in and out. So you're like adrenaline's going up, and then you're like having a couple seconds if you get tagged out to like collect yourself, and then you're jumping back in because your friend, your teammates tagging you back in. So it's just like a roller coaster. But it's so much fun, and I love it too because the environment, like the energy of everybody that's there. The music's really loud. Everybody's yelling and cheering, and like people are like banging on the side of the pit. So for me, it is a very chaotic thing, but it's like a lot of fun. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like just pure chaos, but fun chaos. It's an experience I would recommend for if you're down for stuff like that, just to try it once, um, to get in there. But afterward, like for both that I did it, oh my God, I felt like I got hit by a truck. My body was just like, I was like,
How
"Oh
how
my
how do
god,
you score?
I've trained hard before, but you just feel like literally like, I don't know, like you were almost doing like MMA sparring. You're just like so beat up. You're like, I need to soak in an Epsom salt bath. Maybe it's just because I'm older. I don't know, but I literally felt like I was like, damn, that really it took like a day or two to like recover from this last one. I think too because it was less time on the side because there was only two of us, so we were, tagging each other in back and forth, trying to do
Yeah.
that.
How
So
do you score in the match when like, score by submissions?
yeah, so it's well, you score by submission or you can push the person out of the pit.
Okay.
So either one of those will get you a point. Um, and then uh let's see, that's pretty much it. Sub or you get pushed out of the pit. Yeah.
How many
And
matches do
then
you get that day?
so I think I can't remember. They did time us, I think. Or it was the first one to I can't remember if it was a timed round. So you get paired up with a team, and whoever wins uh goes to the winner's circle, and then whoever loses goes to the like loser circle, and they have a
Mhm.
chance to they fight each other for basically like you would in a regular bracket, like first and
Yeah,
second fight each
consolation?
other. Yeah, like for first, and then the two other ones will fight each other for second and third. So
Okay.
uh it was good. It was crazy. Wild.
What was the strategy for that? Because I remember you said you had different strategy when it was 4, but now you have 2. What was the strategy like?
So we the girl that was on my team, we were just trying to like tag each other in often, and get to positions that we could submit from like uh without like having to like do a lot of movement, if that makes sense. So like, secure like mount or back and work for like chokes and arm bars, because like there was a couple times some of the girls tried to sit in on like some leg lock, and it is harder to submit someone in the like a really tiny space, but they were and it was hot as fuck in there. So you're like drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
So like everybody's very sweaty, so they were getting out of things like that pretty easily. And
Slip and slide in there too.
yeah, so and the mat itself is very slippery. So it was like, well, if we tag in and out often and then try to get to like top positions or like the back somewhere where you can like really control a person a little bit easier even if they're sweaty, and submit them that way. So that was kind of the strategy. um and it worked well. We did pretty good, so it was a
It's
lot
eas
of fun. It
it's
was a
easy to
lot
pull
of fun.
guard in there?
What's that?
It's easier to pull guard in the pit?
um
Takedown.
I guess, yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't the I wouldn't wanna be on the bottom, that's for sure, even if I was a good, like, guard playing this my game, just because like, there's not a lot of space, and if you get pushed up against the wall, um, it's hard to maneuver underneath someone. Like, if you're, like, on the regular mat and you have space and you get to hip escape, create the angle, but then, like, if you're being pushed and like in the corner of the pit, easy for the person on top to like smash you because you're literally in the corner and there's nowhere to go. And you can't really like climb, like it's not like if you were like on the cage where it's like vertical upright where you could like walk your feet up it and try to, kick off of it to submit or roll, because it's at such an angle that it would just kind of like pin you there more.
Yeah, upside down.
So it's like, yeah, it was like, don't get pinned on the bottom.
How do your legs go
And
that far way the angle goes from you, so it's not like you can push yourself off.
yeah.
It's hard to shrimp uphill too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's good to, like it was kinda, uh, good to have a little bit of, like, I think, like, MMA background just because I was like, "Okay, well, I know how to pressure someone up against a wall and, on the other side like, receiving end." So, I kinda felt like, "Okay, well, I know at least know how to, like, hold someone there, or I know how to, like, move if I get pinned up against there." So, that that kinda added to, just feeling better at what we were doing in there, for me anyway, because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, shit," like, when they come at you, they come at you fast. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, fuck." You
And there's
gotta be ready.
there's no angles that you can get from there either because
Yeah.
you're stuck in there.
Yep. There's nowhere to go. Like, you you wanna do, like, even if you were doing, like, I don't know, basic wrestling movements, it's really hard because there's no space.
You can
You're
sprawl either.
just so yeah, you're so close. So, it's wild, though. It was a crazy experience, and like I said, I had a lot of fun. It was really fun, and the energy is just, like, through the roof, and that for me, I don't know, like, everyone else, but for me, I love that. It just kinda takes your mind off of, you know, when you go to the big tournaments and it's like, yeah, people are yelling and cheering for their team, but it's like, I don't know, a little bit different because it's like quiet when you're on the mat and it's very like, I don't know. I don't know how it reminds me of being in an MMA fight. And I think that's why I like it so much because
Okay.
it's just chaos.
Just like, so the circle reminds me a lot of the movie Fight Club. People were getting in the pit.
Yeah.
Just like everybody
And then
banging
like
and
people
everything.
just like, yeah, and cheering for you and like people you don't even know are like, yeah, like if you something cool happens, people are like really excited. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I have to say, that was a good time.
Another event that you went to was a Hey I remember you mentioned a Hey Brawl at Bull and Bear
Yep.
Gym. How was that
Uh-huh.
event?
It was great. I got to judge the matches for that or be one of the judges. So that was really cool. The event turned out amazing for its first time, like the owner, first time doing it. He ended up getting just because of the uncertainty of the weather at the time, he ended up doing a octagon inside of the gym, which was great. There was tons of room and it was set up really cool. They put a lot of work into the setup. So there was still hay there. So like there were chairs and then bales of hay people could sit on to watch the octagon. And he did like a lot of cool lighting and like decorated the gym really cool. So you'd had to seen it. It was really neat. And he had like I said, like lighting. He had like laser lights and like other lighting that he had gotten. So it was like, I don't know, the atmosphere was really cool. And the music was good. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And there were some really exciting matches um because of the money that was involved. It was like, dang, $1,000 for fight of the night and then for the best submission. And that's like a lot in comparison to some of the other tournaments that or super fights that are around. I think that was the highest paying one so far. I don't really know actually, but that I've heard of. So it was like people came out there and they were like gonna put on a show, and there was some really good matches, which was really awesome. It
That's
was
a good
fun.
incentive. Do you ever hear about World Series of Jiu-Jitsu? There used to be one like 2 or 3 years ago.
What,
They used to give money out. Even for the kids bracket, they used to give out money
oh,
out.
really?
Yeah, I mean, one of the kids at the gym, he was excited because he was going to get some money. I think he got like $100 for it, or
Oh,
because the
wow.
kids
No.
bracket. But
That's awesome.
they
I've never heard of that one. Do
if
they
you
still do
qualify
it?
no, they went out of business last year, I think,
Oh.
early last year. They're giving away
Oh,
money.
that's
They don't even getting no money because it's kinda like NAGA, but actually they pay the competitors that win.
uh-huh.
And then according to how you qualify, like how many you win in the East Coast, you qualify to nationals and stuff like that, or different areas. You qualify for a bigger prize at a different area.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
But they got closed down?
Yeah, they went out of business because they were able to it costs a lot to, I mean, paying for referees, venue, paying people for the working the event. So everything costs money. So especially you traveling a lot too, with all the equipment.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to run it like that.
I don't think people understand that goes into some running some of those events. They think, like, they don't realize that it's all of that, like how you said, like, it's the venue, it's the referees, it's all these different things that you have to put into it in order for it to function and function well. You could
Yeah.
run a crappy tournament and people aren't gonna wanna go to things like that, but
Yeah.
it costs a lot to put on a good tournament. That's
It's a
why
lot
I
of
was
moving
like,
parts.
"Dang." Huh?
It's a lot of moving parts for it.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. It was really cool. The hay brawl was like, I was impressed. I was like, "Dang." This turned out really, really good, and the turnout was pretty decent for it being its, like, very first one. I think if he does decide to do another one, it's gonna be an even bigger turnout,
Mhm.
but it was fun. It was a lot of fun in general. Like, it was just I had a good time being there, um, just watching the matches and just it was like a fun time. And we weren't there super late, which was my favorite part. I'm like, "This is great," and, like, the tournaments run super late or the events do, like,
Yeah.
ugh, and I'm like, I wanna go home and go to bed and,
Yeah.
t
You need to do
just
jujitsu
stay up.
stuff too late. They
Yeah,
can't
it's
go
too
nowhere.
late. Like, it's not fun when it's super late. For me, anyway, I'm like, "Ugh."
Mhm. Is this the first like jujitsu event altogether, or the first event with that theme for Bull and Bear?
First ever,
Okay.
uh, thing like that, yeah. I know they've had, like, little in-house tournaments for the kids maybe, but nothing like that. That was the first time he put something together like that, so it was really cool and well thought out, um, I mean, he switched it, like, at the end and, saved it say like, with a quick save with, getting the octagon in there and stuff because you know, it was gonna be an outdoor event, and then it was like, well, the weather is unpredictable, so if we have an
Imagination.
outdoor event and then it rains or something like this happens, and then we're gonna be screwed.
Yeah.
So he didn't risk it, and he just went ahead with, getting the octagon, and then it just ended up being really, really cool. So I was like, "Wow,
It's a
this
quick
is
pivot.
impressive." Yeah, like, really. Good quick save, and it just turned out really good, so it was a lot of fun too.
Also, the thing
Yeah.
about it is also good for the competitors. If you have competitors in your gym and you bring competitors, they don't have to travel. Your guys don't have to travel, and they get some matches too, which is good too.
Yeah, hell
Events
yeah.
like that.
Everybody, because you're used to having to go, like, 40 I mean, I know, like, Toro Cup is about well, for the people around the area I'm at is anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour away, And then if you're going to any other big tournaments, usually they're within an hour, 2 hours or more. So it was kinda cool, like, a lot of the guys got to get in on the car or, on the card to compete, and, um, there was quite a few people, well, obviously, the people that came in to fight them from other gyms in the surrounding area, so that was cool. That's always a bonus when you don't have to travel very far.
Yeah. What do you think about gyms doing a lot of events for competition? Because I know Gorami, they do a lot of events like that for competition. Like you said, the
Yeah,
tag team, they do like blue bells, bracket, sometimes
yeah.
the different events. Like, what do you think about gyms that do that?
I think it's kinda cool. It's in many for many reasons, I think, like, if they can hold one and they can run it well, in a timely manner and everything's like, you know, the brackets are good or whatever, it gives people a chance to kinda get their feet wet in, competing and um just like s- test it out, before they go on to, like, let's say an IBJJF tournament or one of the big tournaments. They got to at least experience a little bit of what that might feel like in like maybe their home gym or like in another gym that they've gone to where it's, I guess, maybe a little bit less pressure, but at least they're like, get okay, well, like, we tried this out, now let's go and try and get a belt from a bigger tournament or something like that. They could do local tournaments where they don't have to travel very far, and then they're feeling good about themselves and not as nervous maybe or whatever, and then they can go on, get into the bigger tournaments. And I think it's a great idea
Yeah. Back in the
if you're
day,
if you're able to.
yeah, you have the time and you're able to get some matches in. No high risk as far as like losing money
Yeah.
wise too. But back in the day, this guy I talked to,
Yeah, exactly.
he used to be he's from Brazil, and he said that the way, because the affiliate were so big, these different gyms used to meet at one place, and they used to have like kind of like a wrestling team, or like in other, you try to find the starter of the weight class, and they used to go against each other to run their own bracket. So you can also do like simulation matches for certain big terms. So IBJF coming up, so they have simulation matches with different affiliates, with same affiliate but different gyms. But they were so
Yeah,
big, and now it's hard to have to, because there are so many affiliations, so it's hard to have big affiliation with different gyms nowadays. But if you have find with different gyms that have different affiliation and get some test matches, especially ADCCs next month too, like in Charlotte. So that
um,
will be a good for
yeah,
some of the guys to, they might run into the bracket in ADCC or maybe not, but at least getting prepared for a East Coast ADCC event, which is
yeah,
going to be tougher.
yeah, I totally agree. It helps, and you could, uh, play it out, like, where they're doing, whatever big competition is coming up, they're doing, like, rounds that are similar to whatever rounds are gonna be going on at the tournament. Like, for Sunday service, this past weekend, and I think he's gonna do it, for the next couple of weekends. Um, they're running like a ADCC rounds. So, like, just with the rules and stuff like that. And if you want to, you know, get in on it, you just like he separated the room, and this side is doing like specific training, and then the other side we were doing like rounds like you would if you were going to compete at the ADDAC. And I thought that was really cool because it's like, okay, so you can kind of like prepare with a bunch of people like you don't really like train with all the time, so it gives you like that feeling of like, oh, I don't really know like this person's game, similar to when you're going to compete. And then preparing for the rule set that is at that tournament.
Yeah. Also help you break plateaus doing that way. Because your game
Oh, yeah.
can be so stagnant. Like because you go against the same people, but if you go somebody else, like, you see what really works or what doesn't work in your game.
Yeah, and you're also, like, what really works doesn't work, and then having to adjust to somebody their style that you're not used to, or there's like, maybe they're very flexible and you're not used to rolling with very flexible people, or, maybe they're just, whatever it is, super good at wrestling. I don't know. And you get to like, you have to adjust quickly and to try
Yeah.
to win. As that's exactly how a tournament would be.
Yeah. Um, I used to not roll with girls, not because I'm a sexist, but because I feel like I was so whole like I'm afraid of like hurting them. Because but they also have to get used to being because they're more flexible. To be able to get like
Yeah.
different angles to get like entries in different attacks. But that's something like because usually with guys they have different flexibilities on certain stuff, especially the bigger guys, the shoulders, they're not as flexible. So you go for Kimura and stuff like that. But when you do against girls, you have to be able to switch it out fast. Either Kimura, armbar, triangle in that sequence, or something else, take the back to go to different attacks because they're different.
Yeah. They move differently. Um, they're definitely, for the most part, uh, excuse me, more flexible and more bendy. Like they just
Yeah.
bend differently. They're it's harder, in my opinion, sometimes it's harder to uh, like, uh, pin some of the ladies because they're, you know, they just the frame is a lot smaller, so you have to like have more control because if you don't, then the slightest space that you leave open, they're moving out of it, with like a bigger person, if they're like on the bottom or the top, they don't have to like try so hard to close the space because their body's just bigger. And then you're used to like rolling with somebody like that. And then when you roll with like a woman and she's just like, you know, they're if especially if her control's good, there's literally like it's like suffocating because you literally don't you cannot move if they have good control because there's like no space whatsoever.
And
And
like
because yeah, because they're like the same size as you too. Does that make sense? I don't know if I sound
yeah.
confusing, but
It's kind of like
it's
an
like,
octopus.
huh?
Kind of like an octopus. Because you think you have it like pinned down, and you can go against like it's the same size, but they have different um way to be able to like squeeze out of stuff. For example, like guy, you can just fly him out, like pin him down, be able to like go for different decisions in attacks. But for if you have to be able to um cover all your bases when you go somebody that like somebody flexible. Because like dude, like especially north south, like I'm okay here, but then some north south they get in your back from there, even though you're on top. It's like what the hell?
You're like, "What the heck just happened?"
Yeah, they're doing attacks on my arm while I'm doing north south, being on north south. But it feels like I'm safe there, but not so much safe.
Yeah, when they're able to, like, back roll and, like, get on your back.
Yeah, so that's
And it you
learning different.
Yeah, and you have to adjust, like, if you're used to just training with men all the time, and then you train with a female, just they like, again, they move so much different that it's like you have to adjust how you're applying certain things. So, like, if you're, like, used to, like, I don't know, arm barring or kimura, like, Americana, the shoulder, attacking the shoulder, I'm like, a lot of guys are, like you said, they're not as mobile. So you can, capture it, you apply it, and You can hang on to it pretty good, and then you go with, like, somebody who's, like, super flexible, and they're able to, like, move their arm differently, and you're like, "What the hell just happened? How'd you get out of that?"
Hitchhiking out of a
You know?
Kimura. How that's possible?
Yeah,
How
you're
do you
like,
feel the word?
"How'd you get out of that omoplata?" Like, your arm was in the back of your head, and
It's
then
not
they're out, you're just like, "Oh." Yeah, you have to, like, tighten it up way more.
yeah. You have to get your shit together, be able to
Yeah,
fly it the right way.
together.
You have to take all the slack out of there. Kinda like whenever you wring your shirt, try to wring the sweat out. If you don't wring it all the way out, there's nothing comes out. You have to make sure you take all the slack off to be able to get
Yeah,
a tight technique. Otherwise, it doesn't work. But going
that's
back to,
true.
the open mat for the, uh, Sunday service, how was that? Did you hosted it recently in the gym?
Oh, it was amazing. There was, like, 60 some people that showed up. It was,
Wow.
like, crazy. Um, it was such a great experience, and the vibe was wonderful. Everybody was rolling, and nobody got hurt. There was like I said, the vibe was great. There wasn't, like, any, like, you know, stupid ego people there just, like, trying to win at open mat.
Yeah.
But everyone was training hard, and the drills were amazing. It was great. I was just like, "Wow." When you, like, leave somewhere and you just feel like, uh, that, like, real high, like, dopamine when you're just like, "Oh, that was great, man." Like, everybody had a good time, everybody was rolling and training hard. Everybody left satisfied, sweaty, it was great. I loved it.
For some reason, I thought only they were having one gym that event because I was looking for like where's that location for this? I see Sunday service all the time, but like where are they located? Is it do
Oh,
different
so
gyms?
this is how they're running it. They do most of it. So they do 2 Sundays or 3 Sundays. And it's either 2 or 3 at Bull and Bear. It originally started with Dakota and, I think Anthony, but I know Dakota started it. And then it's getting so big that he wanted to, like, see if other gyms wanted to just host it. And then that just made it, even bigger, which was really cool. Because then, like, people, if he's bouncing around from place to place, like, if you couldn't make it to the ones at Bull and Bear, maybe you could make it to the one at, one particular gym because you live over there in that area or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, this month, I think, or not this month, this next month will be one at Shell Shock, I think.
Feel
And
good.
then the rest are so, yeah, and then the rest are at Bull and Bear.
Okay.
But even this past Sunday at Bull and Bear, there was about, I think, like 40 people there. It was crazy. It was a good turnout. And then they're um they're like they were able to get enough funding to do like a seminar. So I think it's going to be like a seminar and open mat. So which is really cool because it's free.
That's nice.
They have like vendors and people that came when they came to Connection. They had a couple vendors that came with them, and that was really cool. They were selling cool merchandise, and they did a raffle giveaway, which was really cool. So it's more like showing up and training. They're putting more into, like, the community and giving back. So that's kind of cool. Makes it more exciting to go
Yeah.
also.
It makes it good for networking too. Making
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. And for the most part, like every time I've gone, it's been a good experience. You know, there's a lot of people from every different, like, all sizes. So it's not just, you know, these crazy, like, big dudes that are athletes. There was a like this last time there was quite a few women there, and there usually is more and more women that are showing up, so that's cool.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, about your self defense for women classes that you hosted recently. Now, what do you start hosting only self defense for women recently?
When did I start?
Yeah.
Or um let's see. I started learning about it, like self-defense, not like jujitsu stuff, when I lived in California, which was a long time ago. And the person I worked for, the gym I worked at, we would do events at high schools in the area. So we had gone to Santa Monica, couple different high schools in Santa Monica and in Hawthorne, California, the area where the gym was. And he had access to, like, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those big suits. It's like they use them for, like, I don't know, Krav Maga maybe. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
It's like a huge padded suit, like a
Like they use
helmet.
for like canine. Kind of those
Yeah,
they use for
well, it
canine.
looks like that, like a bite suit, but it's padded, so, like, you can actually, like, beat the crap out of the person in the suit without really hurting them.
It's like a
Like,
riot
it's
gear.
yeah, it's like riot gear, it looks like that. Um, because and then we would go to, like, the high schools and, do demonstrations and stuff. And then, that's kinda where it started for me, and I just kinda was, like, wanting to, uh, help more, and so I started volunteering at, like, women's shelters and stuff like that. I did that when I lived in Jacksonville and in New Mexico. Um, just, I don't know, give a little bit back, a little bit of knowledge. But and my thought was like, I would rather it be realistic. Like, you see a lot of self-defense out there, but then you have to sit and think, like, is that really something that would be effective in a situation where you were being attacked,
Yeah. And also it's a
you
disservice to
know?
the people if you do some sort of self defense because you're putting them in danger more than actually helping them be able to defend themselves.
Yeah. And you wanna do stuff that is gonna help somebody survive the situation and get away from it. Like, I would never want to, like, encourage somebody to stand and bang with someone, or, like, if you had to, like, if you think about, like, and if you're in that situation, you have to be prepared to fight for your life. But let's think about the what you're gonna remember to do in that moment to get away. Survive that moment and get the heck out of there. So when I started doing it, I started looking up ways to help, not only like physically help you out of it, but like ways to prepare yourself. Like, you know, something as so simple as like paying attention to your surroundings, knowing the statistics of like attacks on women, or, like, just, you know, knowing more will help you, in my opinion, be better prepared, and you could take like preventative measures if you felt some type of way about a situation, you know?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, so that's kind of where it started. And then I ran a couple courses or classes here in North Carolina. And yeah, I'm always open to helping people if they want help.
Okay. What has been the feedback that you received from the recent competition classes that you have?
Uh, the recent comp class is really good, and I'm actually doing another competition class, Nogi, on this Sunday, which is the 20 something.
Let me pull my calendar. It'll be the
No.
23rd,
Yes, the 23rd.
November 23rd. It's gonna
Yeah.
be at
Cape Fear Jiu-Jitsu in Fayetteville
okay.
from 2:30 to 4. And the last time it was a great turnout. There was a bunch of women that showed up and they were smoked and everybody had a great time, trained hard. So it was a lot of fun. And
Yeah, a
so
buddy of
hopefully
mine,
we'll have
she goes there. I know Jessica Newton.
Yeah, yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah.
She's super awesome. She's the one helping me together and stuff. Yeah. I'm always willing to go out there and help her. She's asked me and I'm like, no problem. You know, that's what I think we need more people like that to try to build the community, like just start putting shit together. Give a place for people to go and train hard and, network, meet other people and do it consistently, you
Yeah,
know?
don't be afraid of having the first uh not people showing up. That's always the first like barrier for like certain
Mhm.
classes because one of the guys at the gym recently started like offering classes for people at gyms that told him like no, don't get discouraged, just like keep showing up and people will start showing up eventually. You just
Yeah,
keep on doing it.
that's that's you're absolutely right. Like just it the first time it may not be the best turnout, but consistency will help it grow. And if you're into, like, people can tell, I think, if you are running something like that and it's kind of like you're into it, you're excited about it, they feed off of you and you just make it like, I mean, a fun experience for everyone, and everyone's getting the work that they need to get in. Everybody's training hard and they leave happy and completely exhausted, then those are the ones that they're gonna be like, "Oh, fuck yeah. We're gonna come for sure." Yeah.
Do you want to discuss why creating safe, empowering spaces for women in jiu-jitsu matters?
Creating safe and empowered spaces for women. Um, yeah, of course, I wanna talk about that. I think, I mean, if you think about your sister, your mother, you know, uh, your daughter, your best friend, if it's a female, like, and you think about her being in an environment where she's learning jujitsu and you want her to grow and it to be a wonderful experience where she gets, everything that you could possibly imagine out of that experience. Well, what is going to provide her that? Like, it's going to be safe. And I don't mean safe as in like we baby women and oh, we coddle them on the mat and oh, pet their heads and good job. No, I mean like safe as in where they can come and train hard and learn the movements. And one, it's like uh safe in a matter where they don't have to worry about like dudes being inappropriate,
Or
right?
they,
Like,
or they get a slam on their neck while they're trying to learn a move?
yeah, or like something like that where they're being their level of maturity rolling is like very high. Like I've rolled with like tons of people that are way heavier than me, way stronger than me, and not gotten hurt because it's not about like we're both training really hard, right? They're getting work and I'm getting work, but it's like I don't know how to like put it into words.
Like high
They're
intensity,
just
but they're
mature about the
reckless.
situation. If they're not, huh?
Try to be
The
intensive training, but not reckless. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's a great way to put it. Intense, but not reckless. And yeah, like I feel like it has to do with your your maturity. It shows like where you're at, because you can roll again. Like some of the the guys that I train with are like super good. I mean, like just take Gabe for instance. He's on some of the biggest platforms out there, and the dude, like, I don't have easy training sessions ever with him, but I've never gotten hurt, and we're both working. Like, he knows how to, like, he knows the work that, like, he can do where I'm not gonna, like, get hurt, but he's still gonna get work. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
And, I've trained with also big dudes that are the same way. They know how to, like, roll with you, so they're also learning, getting the work they need, but they're not, like, crushing you, just pinning you to the mat. They're making you work also. So, um, I think it's important that we create an environment like that, because we want our daughters to train. We want our, sisters and whatever, our wives, whatever, whoever it is, our friends. We want them to be on the mat and be able to like have the same space that you do, you know?
yeah,
But if you're out there and just like beating the shit out of women on the
mm,
mat, then it's like, fuck, man, she ain't never gonna come back.
yeah.
And that
And you have to
sucks.
stagger their growth in the sport, anyways. Because you have to build
Hmm.
you'll be able to break them down, but also build them up at the same time. But also, if you're able to teach them those lessons too, it helps because you have to think about it. Women are also the seeds for the future of the sport too, because they're the ones to be your mom, and they'll be able to teach those same things they learn to their kids as well. Be able to encourage them to try the sport too,
Yeah.
because the lessons that you learn in jiu-jitsu are hard to explain to someone that doesn't practice the sport and how they apply
Oh,
to
for
life.
sure. Yeah. And it also like I think it's important for women too, because it's a different kind of pressure that we're put under, you know, when we're on the mats. And it I think it's good for women to experience that and learn how to survive through that. And they can only survive through that if they know it's like a safe space. Like you, if they come into the gym and they're getting the crap beat out of them every day and it's miserable and the training is super hard and it's a safe space where they feel good about the people around them and they know that you know it's just an environment that's good, they'll keep showing up and get the crap beat out of them every day. I mean, I know tons of ladies like that. They just, because there's the environment that they're in is so good because the people that own the gym or their training partners have created this space that's safe for them, that's it's a good environment. They're still, getting the breaks beat out of them in training, but it's such a good place that they know that it's safe. Like they're not gonna, no one's doing anything maliciously to them, and they're still growing. And like those kind of spaces is that's what I'm talking about. Is like those ladies, they return and they keep returning and they tell their friends about it and then they come in, and it grows and grows and grows. And I think like creating a little bit of that's why I like the women's class is kind of the gateway for the women that are kind of like, I don't, I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable until then you're like, well, we have this only women's class. And they come into the class and they meet a couple girls and then they start training and they, see that like it's not this like crazy environment with the men. It's like these guys are really cool, and then they do a one co-ed class. Like, oh wow, like yeah, you're right. Like I can come into the co-ed class and get a different kind of training. It's really good and I'm safe and I can still go I didn't nobody broke my neck or like like, or you know what I mean? They're able to function the next day cuz they have to be parents or go to their job, It's
Yeah.
like then they see that and they're like, "Oh, okay." So it's like the gateway into like, you know, into just being in the environment and realizing that it's a great space to be in, period. Yeah.
Um, for that, I was still going to talk back about that transition from being a like a competitor in coach and how that relates to parenting as well. How the lessons that you learn between those two. Being, for example,
Being a
like
coach.
patience. Yeah, being patience. Like being a parent and being a coach. How it was different patience levels they need for those two roles.
um, being a parent and being a coach. Well, uh, I think it definitely like being a parent gives me way more patience when I'm on the mat with other kids. And then you know how to like because you have your own kid, you're able to like I know how I joke around with my daughter and like we poke fun at each other and have a good time. And so when I'm around other kids, I'm like, oh yeah, we're doing the same thing. It's like they're the grade school kids or even the little tiny ones, um, you already know how to operate around kids because you have kids and you know how to deal with like you can I feel like I understand better like okay are those like crocodile tears or are they real tears? Like what
Yeah.
you can kind of like you see the difference and you kind of know when kids are like maybe a little or maybe they're scared or whatever like when they first come into class and you can you know how you would deal with it with your own kids so you kind of apply that to when you're talking to the other kids so and
Oh, I
that's how
remember
I
one
take that from home life to the mat.
one of the only few times that let me run the kids class. Also, I usually don't have patience. Yeah, actually work I work related. I usually work during the kids class. But one time I was there and a kid was her first day at class and we were working arm bars and she was like, oh no, she's like, oh no, I broke my arm. And she was wearing a gi, so I couldn't see her arm. I was like, oh no, we were working just arm bar. I was like, I thought she broke her arms. Like, can you move your hand? And then she's like, move the how about try to move the other leg? She's like, I can't move it. I was like, okay, like can you take the sleeve off? So she was like, she was just joking around. She didn't really
Oh
break her arm. She just looking at me. It's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm just kidding. She's like, dude, I was freaking out. She really broke her arm on the first day of class. I
you're
was like,
like, "Of course, the one class I'm teaching and the kid breaks their arm. Great."
yeah. Like, "Dude, this kid, man, is gonna be give me a headache. He's gonna give me a heart attack."
Yeah,
Well,
sometimes they do. The kids sometimes I'm just like,
the test
my
you.
oh my god. I think it's like too they when kids feel comfortable around you will definitely push a little harder, just like your own kid. Like they test like what they can get away with when they're comfortable, you know? I'm just like, these little mother suckers, like, what? I'm like, you can't fool me. Like, my daughter does the same shit. No,
Yeah.
no. They try to pull fast ones on me. I'm like, it's not gonna work. Sorry.
Mhm. How do you teach them discipline, like, in both roles? Like, consistency routine for both of them role, as a coach and also as a parent?
Well, at the gym, like discipline, we talk about it, you know? And if you're being disrespectful or, like there's consequences, you're gonna do push-ups or something like we'll do, some sort of exercise until like you get the hint, right? Um, and then you don't get to play the games or you don't get to do like the kids love sparring, they love it. So then you take away the things that they really like doing, like, and then usually the kids will, I've never had like any situation where they were just like towards me disrespectful or anything like that. They're more just like, kids goofing off, not listening. You show the technique like 4 times and they're like, "What? I
What
forgot." And you're like, "Oh my
what are we
god.
doing?
I showed you like 20 times. What do you mean you forgot?"
And
Um,
also, like, discipline part, not so much like behavior-wise, but also like patterns. So instead of like they're supposed to be going to sleep at the bedtime, but they stay up late playing video games, or like they're supposed to be doing something and they're not doing it. Not just behavior, but also like patterns that they're supposed to be doing. That also applies to within the discipline umbrella.
um, like, at home, oh my god, like, procrastination is my daughter's favorite thing in the world for anything. I mean, like, the most simplest task, and there's and I think, like, for me, I don't really I'm she's pretty good at, like, I've talked to her about, like, "Hey, like, if you don't hurry up," like, or whatever the situation is, I'm able to, like, sternly tell her, "Hey, this needs to change or else X, Y, and Z is gonna happen," you know? Like, you might you're not gonna get your phone or you're not gonna get screen time for the 30 minutes you get it later on today or, like, and she's usually like, "Oh, okay, well, I better hurry up," you know? She doesn't really push back very hard. I mean, she's definitely, uh, has a good amount of sass, but it's never, I'll call her out immediately and be like, and we talk about it, which is, I
Do you
feel very fortunate
do you
that,
think it
like,
has
we
to be like she's a optimistic procrastinator? And then you're optimistic, you think like, "Oh, yeah, I'm able to get it done." And if you start to push it back, I'm able to get it done." But then you're like, "Oh, no, it's too far now. Run out of time." Like, do you think that's what it is or just procrastination altogether? No reason for it?
uh, probably both, for her, she's in, like, La La Land.
Because
She gets
I used to be
distracted
like that.
very easy. Yeah, she'll
Okay.
get distracted super easy. Um, Something as simple as, like, getting up and getting ready in the morning for school, and she'll be getting dressed and then get distracted with something else, looking through her things or, like, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" Uh I'm, shuffling through this book or whatever, and I'm like, "Aren't you supposed to be getting ready for school? Like, get dressed." "Oh, I got distracted." I'm like, "I could tell."
Yeah, my
And
daughter's
I
like
I
that
I
too.
get it. I'm like, "I do this I do the same shit." And I
Yeah.
tell her that. I'm like, "I know that it's frustrating, but you gotta try to focus." I'm like, "I get it because I do the same thing. I'll start cleaning one room and then all of a sudden, I'm putting one thing away and I'll end up in the kitchen and then I start doing like four things in there and I'm like, fuck, I need to finish doing what I was started doing.
Yeah.
But
They start looking for the broom, and you forgot that you left it in another room, or you were doing something else. Like, "Oh, I forgot." So
yep, exactly. I do that shit all the time. Or I'll have something and I'll remember, oh, you know, I needed to do something in the laundry room or whatever. And I'll go in the laundry room and then I'll forget that I left like whatever I left it in there. And then I'm like, what the fuck? What did I do with the spray bottle? Like I just had it. Oh my God.
my wife and I, we have a inside joke said that's a Biden moment. So we're doing something like, "Oh, like, I was gonna say something." It's like Biden face, like Joe Biden. Like, forget what I was doing. It's like, "Oh, no."
Totally
Yeah,
clueless on what you were doing.
yeah. It's like, I just left the room. I was coming here to this other room to get something, but I forgot what it was. Then I go back to the room. It's like, "Oh, I remember what it was." And then go back to the room you're going to.
It
It's like,
happens all the time. All the time.
back to the coach and parenting, how important is like to letting go of like your students letting them learn certain way, and also as a parent teaching your kids um certain things, but also you letting go for them to learn their own way.
Well, I know. Okay, so this is a great example because with my daughter, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Ferdinand. Have you ever seen that movie with the
I saw
bull?
a long time ago when I first came. I watched it in the
Okay.
theaters.
Well, Ferdinand is a a bull,
Is it
right?
John
And
Cena?
he's the biggest bull out of all of them,
Hmm.
right? And they're all like, "Oh, fight for glory in the ring." Right? That's their goal. But he's a flower bull. He likes flowers. He's gentle. He's like the gentle giant. And so I tell her, "You're my little Ferdinand," because she's the biggest one of the biggest kids on the mat, but she's like gentle. I mean, she has her moments, but she's just having fun. Like and for a while I was like, you need to take it serious. You need to be like more aggressive when you're training. You need to like focus and and then I'm like, what am I doing? I'm making her like I want her to be like how I am on the mat. And she's gonna end up hating this if I keep pressuring her into like having what I thought and what I want for her to be like. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I just want her to be on the mats. And if how she's training is fun for her and she's having fun doing it, I just let it go. I'm like, you know what? She's my little flower bowl. She's
Yeah.
having fun. She's doing jujitsu. She has her moments of like where she puts the whooping on somebody and I'm just like, "What? That's awesome." And I encourage her and I'm like, "I'm proud of you for, you know, getting out there and pushing yourself." And then outside of that, I just kind of like let her do her thing because for a while I was kind of like getting on her about it and I'm like I was I was frustrating my own self. And then I'm like, I had to take a second and be like, I'm just like reflecting on myself and what I'm doing. And I'm like, well, I'm literally like trying to make her be something that she isn't right now, anyway, on the mat. And then if I keep doing this, it's going to make her hate the sport. She's not going to want to come. She's not going to want to be with me at the gym when we're there. And I can't make her feel the same way I do about it. So I just backed off and I said, "Hey, like as long as you're putting effort into the training and I want you to have fun. Just make an effort and have fun.
Yeah.
Cuz you don't you have to be here. You're going to train, like that That's a something I told her was a non-negotiable because she needs to, have some form of like way of to protect herself and have exercise. So I just kind of backed off, and like I said, I told her as long as you're making an effort and you're having fun, I won't I won't give you any shit about it anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't, and I just kind of watch her and do her thing, and I try not to coach her too much because it's like, "Mom." I'm like, "All right, well,
Yeah,
shut
it
up."
is important lesson to learn because education you learn too because you try and let them be their experience, have their own experience rather than you trying to guide them like instead of like the bull metaphor of like a slaughterhouse, you have to like engage the cow so that people to like go on their own path. You want to go this way instead of being free range and be able to learn
Yeah,
along the way, to have their own experience because whatever we experience growing up is not the same thing that they'll experience and not the way that we learn, it's not the same way they will learn and they apply. And my daughter, she stopped doing jujitsu, but whenever she was doing jujitsu, I was like, I don't think she's learning anything. And like, she like socializing all the time, but like the only things that she like focus on is, like you said, effort, good attitude, be a good teammate. The thing, just being open, like being coachable. That's the only thing that I ask from her. Because
yeah,
those are the things that apply in life. You being a good classmate or coworker, that goes a long way. Being coachable from your boss or for your coach, and having a positive attitude and putting effort of in everything that you do, rather
yeah,
than just like trying to make them into a soldier to a certain extent.
yeah. And I mean, if you think about it too, like you want them to have like that special experience in that setting because some of the best people I've ever met in my life I met through jujitsu. So it's like, why wouldn't I want her to have that same experience? She's not going to have it if she hates being on the mats. So, I want her to, like you said, I want her to have her own experience and let it blossom however it's going to blossom, you know? And I do that same thing with like the kids in jujitsu because you can tell some of the kids that are really serious about it and they take the training serious and they're compete, it's different for them than some of the kids that are more there because their parents want them there maybe, or they're more they enjoy being there but they're not there to become, jujitsu athletes, so you look at each kid individually and you try to provide the correct coaching for them as an individual, you know, and encourage them individually. Like, yes, we do it as a whole class, but like when they're sparring or you see something that one of the kids is doing well, or I always like try to point that out, like, you know, give them credit for efforts that they've made in class and for being really good training partners. We talk about that a lot, you know. So I think everybody's situation is a little different. So I try to give each kid what they need, without, having to go too far into it with them, like you can see on a surface level. The kids that are really serious, the kids that are just kind of goofing around or whatever, they're there because they're just like being wild on the mat. And then kids that are there because their parents make them be there or whatever. Just try to encourage them and be a good a good like I want to be a coach that they like being around. It's a hard class, but they have a good time. They can laugh, you know, 6, 7, joke around with me and stuff like that.
No, the 6'7".
Yeah. I always joke around with them and do silly shit like that. You want it to be a fun environment for them.
Dude, that thing right there, every time I see, like, dude, the other day I was at the park and this other kid, she's wearing that shirt, and all the 2 kids came behind, "Look, they look at her shirt." They're like, 6, 7. The kids were just, like, yelling at each other. I was like, "Calm down, man." Going back to the kids, like, they go hard, and, like, not the kids that you wanna teach them how like to train, but also the other ones that take it too serious. Those that they're in there, if they lose a round, they just like start crying and something like, dude, like just relax, man. You're here to learn. We don't have a score here, anyways. That who's winning all the rounds. Like just be here to learn. And if you don't lose it, you're not learning.
Right. You know, like I just tell kids to like, hey, we're not trying to be the winner of practice. Like, you're good, dude. Losing is a part of it. So, and then if they get really upset, just like, hey, like, what do you think you could have done better in that match to so that wouldn't have happened, and get them thinking about the next move instead of like dwelling on that moment of negativity where they're just like consumed by it, you know.
Yeah. First communication. How do you kind of let me see. How do you tell whenever it's like for you to push, when to come forward, and like when to step back for communication for as a parent and also as a coach?
Oh, well, when the kid is like, or especially my kid, when I see that she's like frustrated or overwhelmed, I'll step back. I'll be like, okay, I need to like let her or the students like work through whatever emotion that they're having and figure it out for themselves. And then when they're ready, they'll come back. Or maybe I'll try again if they don't come back, you know,
Yeah.
in a few minutes when it's a little less, when their emotions are a little calmer.
Yeah. You
And
just angry mind is a closed mind most
um,
of the time. There's not much going in there. Whatever you tell them is not gonna go in there.
yeah. And then like that's when I'll usually like take a step back when I see that they're frustrated or overwhelmed. But also like if they're super frustrated, they might need a little bit of like comfort. Like, hey, like you wanna, just step in with like a friendly or comforting tone of voice and kind of like see how what their thoughts are or where they're at in their head. Um I just with my daughter, I just try to talk to her very openly. I'm like, "Are you frustrated? Do you need a second? Okay. All right, I'll come talk to you in a second." Um, as long and I tell her too, like I tell the kids at the gym, just if you're frustrated and upset or whatever, that's fine. You can be all those things, but that doesn't mean that you get to treat other people like crap or be a jerk on the mat just because you're frustrated. If you are and you need to take a second and you need to say that, you know, that way people are aware that you need a second to get your shit together. And I tell the same thing to my daughter. I'm like, If you don't open your mouth, I don't know what the hell's going on." You have to be able to say, "Hey, mom, can you just get away from me for a second?" And I'll be like, "All right, cool. Yeah, I'll leave you alone. I respect that. Like, just tell me what you need, or else I don't know." So I try to apply some of the same things to the kids at the gym too, because they're not all. I mean, it's not rocket science. Just I feel like if you talk to kids more, they'll give you what the answers you need to help them. You know what I mean? Like, and some kids need to be dealt with, like, they need a stern, uh like, they need you to talk to them sternly without, like, any, gentleness, I guess, because maybe I don't know what their home life is like, but if you are soft with them, they'll just run all over you.
That'd be correct.
And so, you're just like, you just have to have a shorter tone with them or just make sure you're on them and they do fine, you know? And so it's kind of like with all the personalities of all the different kids, you kind of have to like juggle between doing a few things, like
This is like
gotta be
a
firm with
emotional
this
roller
kid.
coaster.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta be more firm with this kid and a little bit less firm with this one. You gotta make sure that this kid over here is not breaking people's arms because he doesn't know any other speed besides 1000%. And then this kid over here who cries if you touch him, like, because
Then you have the new
you know,
kid that was kicked out of a different academy. They come to your
yeah,
class. I thought
yeah. So you're just like juggling all these different things. I think that's what like kids instructors are just like there's so many reels out there about like kids instructors because you're responsible for having to make all these one you want you're basically like the puppet for the parent, like the parent that wants their kid to be an athlete. Oh, you better produce an athlete.
yeah.
uh the one that wants, whatever it is that the parent wants for their kid, like you're looked at as the person who has to produce it.
You have to be like
So
have you
it's
seen the movie Split with, James
uh,
McAvoy? He has,
I
like, different
haven't.
personalities. That's what you have to be like whenever you're, like, instructor for the kids. You have to different personality. Patricia, that stern one, they have
Which
that
one
one.
is that? Oh yeah, yeah, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be that kind of person to be an instructor for the kids class.
Yeah, because you're juggling like all you're juggling all the kids' personalities. You're like, fuck, dang. But I think if you just I love kids, so it's not hard for me to like be there. Does it get frustrating sometimes? Of course, but like it gets frustrating dealing with adults too. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's like anywhere.
I heard recently, I can't remember where I heard from, that we don't have, setbacks. Most of the time we have inconveniences that sometimes they just mount so much that it feels like setbacks, but they just little inconvenience. But if you look at it
Yeah,
as setbacks, you overwhelm you too much rather than looking at it as
yeah,
inconvenience.
I agree. It is. They're not. They're little hiccups. Not really anything that you should cry over, or get overwhelmed about. It's not the end of the world with it.
Yeah. Um, what lesson from coaching have helped you as a parent and vice versa?
Lessons from coaching that have helped me as a parent. Um, Figuring out different ways to explain things so that way my daughter can understand what I'm trying to relay to her. So like when you're like teaching technique, sometimes people don't they need to relate to it different. So I can kind of like for, when you're teaching like Uchimata and you're like, okay, you're gonna like swipe your foot like you're scraping something off of your foot, like you stepped in something and you're now scraping it on the grass. That's how you sweep your foot when you go between the leg, like you just try to make a connection with the technique to something they relate to outside of it. So they're like, oh, that's how I move my body. Duh. Okay. And so I use that. I try to do that with my daughter. Like I try to think like I'm like, okay, I'm not explaining this well, or not communicating this in a way where she's like understanding what I'm trying to get across. Let me how I can say it that she'll understand it better. And then I'll think of things that she can relate to try to that she relates to, and that will help under her understand what I'm trying to get across. So that's helped me with, her. Um and I think just having like knowing that um I when I tell people certain things like at the gym, I kind of have to have patience and understand that not everybody's gonna, like with my daughter, she's not gonna like feel the same way I do about things. So I always take that when I go to teach class, because sometimes I'm always like, I can be like, oh man, like why don't you understand how to do this? Like I don't get why you don't know how to, or why don't you, i- it's for me, it wasn't hard to like, I don't know how to explain. Like I don't have a problem rolling and being more aggressive rolling. I don't have a problem. I don't take it personal when people roll hard with me unless I feel like they're genuinely trying to hurt me. And then I'm like, wow, that fucking sucked. I will never roll with that person again. But like just outside of that, I don't I've if someone rolls hard with me and it's a good roll, I'm like, oh my God, that was awesome. I don't take it personal. And I think when people do, I'm like, you can't roll hard with that person? Why? Oh, because they get upset. And I'm like, that's dumb. What?
And you
Like,
go away. It sounds like a child.
yeah. And I'm like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. But I'm like, we should be able to train hard with like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. Um, so that, but I have to understand that like, oh, these people they're not me. So just like my kid, she's not me. I can't expect you to think and feel the same way I do about jujitsu and the way I do about training. So you, you have, you know, I take that part from being a parent because I'm like, I can't, my daughter is she is her own person. And she is, I don't expect her to think and feel like I do about anything at all. Just like I can't do that with people at the gym, you know?
It's not like they want to make themselves dumber and not learn the move. It's just they just can get in their head, or they can just get um they might have some like range of motion limitations, perhaps, or they just it doesn't get in their head certain moves.
Yeah, like so uncoordinated almost.
Yeah,
But even if I don't know if you've ever experienced this, like even if you're like, okay, put your right hand here and just move it down, or give like the most simplest of instructions.
yeah.
Turn on your side, left side, like, and they're like, you're like, what?
The other
The
left side.
fuck? I'm like, why are you like upside down? Like I just said turn on your side. Like what the and they're just like don't get it. I don't know. But I mean again, like just because when someone tells you, "Hey, put your left hand here and turn on your left shoulder," and you do it, it makes sense to you. You say, "Oh, okay, got it." And some people are just they don't get it. They don't catch the first time. So it's like, "Oh, okay. What Like, I'll be like, "Well, maybe some people have to have the move done to them, and then they kinda get it a little bit better." Okay, and some people need to see it several, several times. Some people need you to go up to them and tap them on, like, this they go, "This arm, put it right here," and so
Yeah.
they visual like, "Oh, okay, here's that physical cue," And then you know what I mean? Like, I do that to people all the time, like, I'll tap on their where, the leg that I want them to move, because you could say, "Move your left leg," and they'll be like they'll move their right arm, and you're like,
Yeah, it's not Twister.
"That's not your leg, but okay."
Yeah, there's usually a side control skill that I usually like to teach people. It's like, you see where my hand in? I want you to step right here. Just step on my hand. I don't care. You step on my hand. You go ahead. Because like it's hard to like explain. Like, step right here, bridge and shrimp away. So you have to get a little space to regard or try to get an arm bar or something. But like, yeah, it's also for takedowns the same way. Okay, I need you to go right here, and then I want
Yes,
you to do
oh
this,
my god,
and then just falling over. Like, why are you falling over? You just stand up.
yeah, uh, or you're like, "Okay, so you're gonna switch your hands from here." You're just literally gonna switch where your hands are to here. You're just moving them, right? You're gonna switch from, and then they're like, where?" And I'm like, "You're just you're moving, like, one hand. You see where that hand is? You're gonna put your other hand there now and move that hand. You're just switching places." And they're like, "What the fuck?" Like, "Oh my god."
Yes, yesterday I was trying to teach somebody a TP choke of a triangle. So I was like, okay, so you lock your hands behind your knees, and you need to kick your feet above your head and behind you so you can get your hips up. And this person just kept kicking their feet away from themselves, like kipping. I was like, why are you pushing away? I want to keep your knees together and kick above your head so you can lock the TP choke. Nope, just kicking away, like bucking out. It's like, just like you do back roll, just do that on your back. Nope, it wasn't getting through. I was like, "Ah, wow,
That's where, like, trying to relate, something, like, if you try to relate some sort of movement that's like a normal movement to
yeah,
people, and they kinda get it. Like, I'll tell people, like, uh, I'll be like, when teaching, like, a takedown, like a double leg or something, and I'll be like, "Okay, have you ever squatted before, ever in your life?" And most people are like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Okay, so when you have the bar on your back, do you lean forward, or do you try to keep your head and shoulders and everything stacked on top of your, like, good posture, right? That part is good posture." And they're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Well, imagine you have the bar on your shoulders and you have to lower your level, because people will dip their head forward and they'll try to shoot in like this." And I'm like, "That's not changing your level. You're just tilting your head forward. That's why you get guillotined all the time." And I'm like, "Imagine you have the bar on your back, right? You're not going to squat down like that, or you're going to crush your head." And they're like, "Oh, okay. Bend your knees."
yeah. Have you like
Like,
through the
stuff
world?
like that. Like,
I
you
usually
need,
have
like,
them. I usually have them.
the what?
I usually have them shoot against the wall to keep their head up.
Oh, nice.
So whenever they step, then their knee hits the mat. Try to have their knee hit the corner of the wall, and their chest hit the wall. So if you're doing it the wrong way, your head's hitting the wall first. If your head's hitting the wall first, you're doing it wrong.
Yep,
So you have to get your legs under and your hips under you. That's on the shoulder, hips, knees, right on the same vertical line.
yep.
So you if you hit your head, it's on you. Keep going till you get it right for those double legs.
Right?
But some people they just cover.
That's a good one.
Well,
They just don't get it, that, like,
yeah, it's hard not to get frustrated. Like, dude, we just did this move so many times. How you not getting it? And but also you have to understand that they're not trying to dumb themselves down. They just don't get it. And
yeah,
sometimes they do
it's
like
not like
they do it right one time, and then the next time they come to class, like, what was it again? what is that move again?
Yeah, they totally forget it. I'm like, "Yeah, well, you have to drill it." Or people, it's totally off subject, but the the what if people.
Mhm,
What if what if this happens? I'm like, "Well, that's a whole different scenario, my friend. We do a bunch of different things from there." And I'm like, jujitsu is a game of what if.
mhm.
I don't know how they're gonna react. What if they do that? Then you do this. What if they do this? They do the, I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah,
we
that's
could
the beauty of
still,
the sport, but you cannot get tangled up in the what if, otherwise you never learn that initial move that you're trying to learn.
yep. You just gotta focus.
Yeah, I'm terrible with ADHD because I get caught up in the what if. Somebody asks me the what if, like, oh, okay, you do this. It's like, damn, what was the move like? So we go over 7 moves instead of just going over the 3 moves we're supposed to be working on for that
Yeah.
for the time. It's like, ah, damn it. So okay, so let's go back. Like the 3 things that we want to take out of this class is this.
Girl, what were we freaking working on?
Yeah, we were
Totally
working out
forgot.
yeah, working out a side control, and we working the most of the class on back takes. So I thought we were working on side control because we just get sidetracked.
Yeah,
The ADHD. But
yeah.
um as far as for which role do you think is harder emotionally? As a coaching a student through a loss or watching your kids struggle?
Probably for me. um, Probably watching my daughter struggle. Um, when it's really hard for her, or I can see her like getting really overwhelmed or frustrated. It's like I just want to like be able to not go in and save her, but I want to be able to be like, do this and do that, and help her through it. And I just can't. I just have to let her ride the wave. Like to me, I'm like, she needs to know what these feelings feel like when she's under a lot of pressure, or like the round's really hard. Like you got to learn how to you yourself, because you're not going to deal with it the same way I do. Um, and I'm just like, I wish I could help you, but I can't. You kind of have to just go through it. And because like how I processed it emotionally